This is ZPB, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between. I am your host, James Shea. As always, Scooter Dust.
Good evening.
And it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with ZPB, Zachary Pierre Beaulieu. How are you, and how badly did I mispronounce your last name?
Good afternoon, guys. I'm doing great. Don't worry about it. Everybody screws up my last name, so not a problem at all. I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to join you guys and see how this show goes.
And what's coming up for ZPB in the future? And where can we find him on social media?
Well, in the future, during this pandemic, there's not much going on. There is some safe wrestling out there, but it's few and far between. But in the interim, I have a new T-shirt coming out very soon. Just got the design back. Kind of a mixture of wrestling with Mortal Kombat. So you get an idea there. So I will release that once I start doing regular shows again. You can catch me on social media. I'm on Facebook as Zachary Pierre Beaulieu. And you can catch me right now on demand. I'm on Limitless Wrestling right now on the road, episodes 3 and 4. Feel free to give that a listen to. And that's about it for right now. But, always trying to stay tip-top shape, always trying to learn new stuff. So there's never any off-season. Just keep going.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll put all that information in the interview description when this interview goes live.
Lovely.
And I'm assuming you popped the bottle to settle into this interview?
Oh, yeah. It's just past 5 o'clock, and things are going nice and well right now. So I'm drinking well.
Now, I won't pretend to know what anything about wine, but what is the holy grail of wines for you? Like, if I could get my hand on that specific wine.
Well, I'm not much of a wine snob. Any wine is good wine. Obviously, some wines are better, but get yourself a nice bottle of California Red. You can't go wrong there. But anywhere from the bottom of the shelf to the top of the aisle, you're not gonna get anything bad with wine. I prefer a little bit of the sweeter wine. I like a little white wine, but to each their own. When I'm wrestling, I'll drink the white wine, but if I'm having just some nice dinner at home or whatnot, definitely go with the red. But all wine is good wine.
What about Thunderbird?
What is that?
Thunderbird. Cheap wine from back in the day. I've just shown my age.
Well, if it's wine, it's probably good. But you said back in the day, so I'm assuming it's not made anymore?
Yes, it is, but you got to go over the place to find it. Attempted a bad joke. Pew!
I think that should be something on your T-shirt. Any wine is good wine.
Hey, I like that. Maybe I'll steal that. Don't expect any royalties, though.
Hey, now. Hey, we need to turn a little profit as well here. You made your Limitless Pro Wrestling debut not too long ago. Can you tell us about the promotion and what it's been like to work for them?
Oh, it's great. I've been watching them for a long time. Finally able to go up and wrestle with a lot of those guys there. It's probably one of the better places to wrestle, especially in New England and all the United States. Like I said, a lot of the guys there are guys that I've known in the business for a long time. And to get a group of core guys like that together and just go all out and wrestle is absolutely great.
Now, we spoke to a fellow Limitless roster member last week, Davian. And are you know Davian, because I know you've mentioned Love Doug in your road debut promo.
That was not me that mentioned him, but I know Davian very well. No worries. No, she's a strong girl. She's her ring work is absolutely great.
Now, I've noticed you're a big guy, 6'1", and Limitless, their ring is not, some would say, the typical wrestling ring. The apron is significantly lower and smaller. Now, for you, is that more of a hindrance or an advantage in the ring?
Well, those low boy rings, they're not too bad. It's the same thing as a regular ring. We're just a little lower to the ground. Anytime you're in a different ring, you have to manipulate your steps around. You have to get a good look at how it feels, and you just make adjustments on the fly. So I have no issues with that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And now you've came up with a baguette before. Your tag team was named the Aristocrats. You're certainly immersed in your culture. Was it important to you to show your French culture in your pro wrestling?
That's a change I made way back in about 2011, and since then it has constantly evolved. I am French Canadian, full blooded, 100%. And to use that heritage in wrestling is a great honor. Like I said before, there's constant evolution. There's constant seeing what works, what doesn't work. Just implementing different tactics into the ring. You don't want to go too much over the top, but at the same time, you don't want to be generic wrestler number 73. You got to show who you are. You got to show your character, your image. And then you can throw that all together. And, with the heritage that I have, it's good to just show some bits and pieces of that so people get to know who I am really when I'm in that ring.
Now, you mentioned a change, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were previously known as Zach Static?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, that was a long time ago. Yes.
Oh wow, you got me. Well, nobody know me like that. Bravo.
We have a heel.
That is fantastic. How did that change come about, and what were the reasons behind it?
Well, basically, I was Zach Static from about 2004 to about 2011. And I did as much as I could with him. He was a fun character, but there was no substance to him. There was no depth. He was very one-dimensional, and you can only go so far with a gimmick like that. And it was that time. It was do or die. It was either reinvent myself or essentially quit. And I'm not a quitter. So I dug deep inside myself to see who am I? What did I want to do in this business? And I pulled a little bit. I am French Canadian, so let's see something there. And I had a little bit help. I had a little help with Dr. Heresy. He really helped me along with that too, and getting the evolution of my character down. And I credit him for helping me get better and just evolving myself to the next step. And when I made that initial change, it just felt like home. It felt like this is natural, who I am, versus who I was. Now, the ZPB I was in 2011 and the ZPB that's in 2020 is vastly different. But I would never have gotten to where I am now if I didn't start then. And sometimes you have to get a couple stinkers before you get something good. And maybe Zach Static was that a little bit, but the initial change into Zachary Pierre Beaulieu was the catalyst to just making myself better and better every match.
Now, I have one additional follow-up question to that. In 2013, you competed in a tag team match against two other superstars that I trained with and worked with, Francis Kipling Stevens and King Mega, with somebody we have to assume is your brother, Christian F. Beaulieu.
Yes, that was in Right Coast Pro down in Delaware. Very good promotion. I really enjoy working with them. I'm down there as often as I can get. That match, I remember, was a match that I got very, very hurt in the sense that I did something to my back. They were more than generous with helping me out there. But no fault of their own. That was just I just took a couple weird bumps. But my tag team partner was not my brother. It was actually the person we started. Yeah, funny how that is. It's actually the person I started wrestling with back in 2004. My old partner, Christian Frost. We broke into the business together, and we did a little bit of a name change when working down in Delaware for a little while. That lasted a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's who that was. Not my brother. No.
You mean you were Bubba and Devon related?
Yes, pretty much. In name only.
Obviously 2020 started the pandemic era of professional wrestling. What has it been like for you to wrestle in this current era? And have you only been competing in closed sets as well?
Yes, I have not done any live wrestling that wasn't a closed set since the pandemic hit. I believe my last show was March or April when I wrestled for NCW in front of an actual live crowd. Since then, it's just been closed sets. I've done a few, but my safety and the safety of everybody else is number one. Since we can't have a lot of public gatherings, it's kind of like everybody can stop, gather their thoughts, and reevaluate who you want to be, what you want when wrestling picks up again, hopefully in the very, very near future.
And what has it been like to wrestle, in front of no crowd? How does that affect your mindset going into a match and how you approach a match?
It affects it more than you think, because we thrive off the live energy of the crowds, whether
Absolutely.
It's cheering, whether it's the applause, the booing. It's just the fan interaction makes the matches what they are. With that said, when the fans are gone, it does make it more challenging. But at the same time, you need to adapt. You need to go out there and do the best that you can do, but you can't have a crutch. Like, because the fans aren't there, you have to work that match. You're going to work it a little differently, but you're going to do it. The same thing happens if you're wrestling a match and a rope breaks, a turnbuckle breaks, something happens to the ring. You still got to go out there and finish the match. And maybe you got to change stuff up. Maybe you got to work around it, but you can't let that hinder you. You just got to do it.
Now, your first match back in this pandemic was last month, correct?
Yes.
Since March.
Yes.
How do you feel after your first match back in, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. It's interesting because being in the ring, it's almost like riding a bike in the sense that you know what you're doing. But that's why there's always practice and trying to stay in shape. wrestling shape is a lot different than any other shape. You can train as much as you want, but if you're not in a ring, you're going to be out of breath, and it's going to be a little different. So just doing that when there's not shows helped a lot. Just being in that ring, just practicing as much as you can. But again, just having the whole energy right there, going going show speed was a little jolt for me. I wasn't really used to it, and a couple of months. But again, I adapted, and I went through with it. But it was a great feeling. It wasn't the typical feeling when you have the whole crowd there, but that's going to come in time. So in the interim, it's been more than fun.
Scooter, you have a question?
Yeah. If you could take us back to your very first day of training, where you haven't learned anything, how to take a bump or anything like that. What happened? What was going through your mind the first time you stepped into a ring for training?
Oh, well, I had, it's very interesting. I've wanted to be a wrestler for a long time. It just so happened my dad grew up with my trainer, Kevin Landry, and having that connection. I had been to the wrestling school as a kid a few times prior just to check it out. So my mindset going in there for the first time at 17 years old back in 2003 was a lot of nerves because I didn't know what to expect because I wasn't a kid anymore. I was at a place that I had been at before, and I'm not running around with a bunch of other kids in between the guys working out. So those initial first few bumps I took hurt because I wasn't doing them right. But the more I did it, the better I got at it. And that first day, I remember we had to do, I think it was 100 back bumps. And we just kept doing it over and over and over and over. And, you're sore, you're tired, but you realize you know what you want out of this. This is just day one. It's not going to get easier. It's only going to get harder. And your body's going to take a lot of abuse. But back then, I was a little naive, but at the same time, as much as it hurt, it was the first time I was doing something physical in my life that I had this joy inside. I've played baseball. I've played basketball as a kid. Those were a lot of fun. I did those in high school, and it was great, but I never had that just moment where I was like, oh, this is good. Like this is where I'm meant to do. And that's what I had when I had that first day of practice. And it was absolutely thrilling. And every day I went after that only got better and better.
You're 16 years pro. That means when you started your career, you were 18.
Yes, my first match was it September of 04. So yeah, I was 18.
What made you all in on pro wrestling at such a young age?
It was something that I just loved since I was a kid. You see these essentially comic book characters come to life on your television set, and it's like I want to do that. And I got lucky that I knew somebody that did that, so I had a little bit of a push in that direction. But growing up, I know a lot of other guys. They had backyard wrestling. They'll wrestle in the backyard with their friends and stuff. And usually that's where it ends. Everybody, you grow out of it. But for me, it was like, all right, this is fun, but I want to do this for real. I'm not a backyarder. And so, went to an actual school, paid money, and trained. And I was as an adult, essentially. So it was it was fun.
Now, if you could classify your in-ring style as a particular category, what would that be? Technical, uh, submission specialist, that kind of thing.
That's changed over time. When I first started, I was a little more aerial, high flyer, a little quicker. My style has slowed down a lot since then. I can still go pretty good, pretty fast, but I'm heavier now. So I've slowed down. I've stuck more to strikes, a little more holds. To categorize myself into just one thing is
It doesn't have to be.
No. I know, but I mean, I would. It'd be somewhat of a mixture of a bar brawl in Japan, I guess. I don't know.
That's a
With
really
a couple
good style.
holds, I don't. I don't know exactly to a T, but it's yeah, it's hard to pinpoint.
One thing that is a T is I've watched some of your matches, and one thing that's super noticeable is how devastating your lariat is. It's not a common finisher, so what was your inspiration to pick that finish?
Interesting. I was actually that came out that was actually given to me essentially by Jose Perez. I did an XWA show about a couple of years ago, and I forgot my knee pads, and my traditional look with my gear had to change because I wasn't going to wear tights with no knee pads. It didn't work. So I wore my singlet, and right there, it's like, oh, you look rougher and tougher now. I like this look. So I adapted there, and I was trying to do a new finish, and he's like, hey, how about you do a lariat? I'm like, you know what? I'll give that a shot. And I give it a little differently in that I follow through with it, and I go down with you. It's not just a hit and go. And I have knocked the stars out of a couple of guys with it. I'm safe with it. I am by no means murderous with it. I have no deviant intentions, but it is a lot of fun, and I do credit Jose with helping there, because the lariat is something I've always done. I think I've done well, but I've never catapulted off of that. And I think now that I have, it fits. I am not a big guy by any means, but that's the most devastating thing I have in my arsenal, which I absolutely love. Yeah, I'm so glad that happened. Sometimes mistakes make the greatest surprises, and that is definitely one of those.
Now,
absolutely.
I believe from what I've seen in your matches, you throw your lariat with your left arm, correct?
No, I throw it with my right, but I am left-handed, so I do use left-handed punches a lot.
Aha. Okay.
I am a southpaw.
Devastating.
The way you talked about knocking the stars around some superstars' heads makes me kind of question, maybe there's a story there, ZPB. Could you maybe elaborate on that?
I had done it in Delaware to Rip by in a match, and I caught him at an angle with it. He saw some stars. He wasn't expecting it to. He wasn't expecting me to hit him as hard as I hit him, and he went loopy for a second. I didn't know till afterwards, and I apologized, but it was quite the surprise for him.
I would imagine. Now you said that you're French Canadian, and obviously
Yes.
very proud of it. You know, the Montreal French Canadian scene kind of seems like it's underrated, but we've gotten a lot of great superstars from that from there. So, what are some of your French Canadian inspirations?
Oh wow. I like I very much like the Rougeau brothers. Um, they were a lot of fun. Dino Bravo, absolutely. Um, sorry. As far as
Getting a buzz from the wine?
inspiration, I was just washing it down with some water. You know, when you're switching bottles, you want to cleanse your palate. So that's one bottle done. So I uncorked the second. So just cleanse my palate with some water first.
Absolutely. I apologize. I cut you off.
No, it's fine. And like I said, my French Canadian heritage. Growing up, I didn't really have that in mind. So watching the Rougeaus or Dino or some of those were definitely great, but I wouldn't say inspirations for me per se, because back then I wasn't thinking in that sense. I was just looking at who I liked in the ring. So as I've gotten older, I've looked at more of that stuff, and I've have a better appreciation for it.
Who was your inspirations back then when you were a kid? And maybe now, who are your inspirations now?
Well, when I was a kid, my go-to, to this day, was Shawn Michaels. He had
That's a
everything
good
I was
one.
looking for in a wrestler. I absolutely loved it. I remember him losing the belt to Austin at WrestleMania 14. I don't think I've ever been sadder in my entire life. But
I think you might have been the only one on that boat.
yeah, probably. But no, him, Warrior, absolutely. Macho Man. Growing up, I mean, if you see a theme here, it's very energetic, very flashy, bright guys. That's what drew me to it. I'm a very big fan of superheroes per se. So seeing essentially, like I mentioned earlier, superheroes come to life was absolutely beautiful. Nowadays, I still love what Shawn did, but I watch a lot of. I've been trying to watch a little bit of everything now. But again, history is bound to repeat itself. So you're looking at the past too as something. So I do watch a lot of Deep South wrestling. I watch a lot of a lot of the territories. Big fan of Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. I try to look at just everything. Midnight Express for sure, and just try to pay homage to them by adapting some parts of my matches, like I see a lot of theirs. But it's just you always want to take a little piece of everything with you in the ring. You want to have in your arsenal just a little bit of everything.
Now, you mentioned comic book superheroes and wanting to be like them. Watching you wrestle, excuse me what I say, but I would classify you as a hero per se. You would kind of be the villain. So how is that how do you approach that? Like, okay, I wanted to be the hero, but now I'm kind of like the antagonist.
Well, that's the beauty of it. A hero is only as good as his villains. There's a reason somebody like Lex Luthor, who's just basically a businessman, can basically hinder Superman in so many ways. You don't have much of a Superman without Lex Luthor. You don't have much of a Batman or a Spider-Man without the Joker or Green Goblin, respectively. And that's just big mainstream ones. So you really need to, as a villain, not necessarily be a caricature, but you really have to raise the stakes. You have to go above and beyond, or you have to go, as far left or as far right as need be, so the hero will look that much better. So it's very interesting because you have everything at your disposal. There's nothing as a villain in the ring that you can't do. Where I think a hero is more limited to what they can and can't do. Villains aren't. I can do whatever I want in that ring. So it's the referee may not see all of it all the time, but that's up to me to do.
Hey, it's
so
not cheating if you don't get caught.
I mean, hey, yeah. So
yeah.
You never know. But yeah. So when I'm doing that, I think that helps the hero much more, because the more loathsome, venomous, vilest I am, the better off they look in the long run.
Now, you mentioned falling into the Lariat as a finisher by accident, kind of like Jake Roberts in the DDT. Is there any particular moment in your career besides the Lariat where something didn't go as planned, but it turned out great?
Yes. Turned out great. Well, I did. Oof.
We could come back
Drinking
to that.
drinking so much wine here, I'm getting a little loopy.
We can come back to that.
No. It's fine. Maybe not to myself specifically, but there's been times where it's hard to pinpoint, but there's been times where something will happen where it's like, oh shit, sort of like what I mentioned before. Like, we've had matches where the rope breaks, or we've had matches where something goes wrong, where somebody will get too hurt, so they can't do it. So you gotta step up and take their place or whatnot in the middle of a match. And those moments, they, for some reason, when something negative like that happens, what you do in the immediate aftermath of that, for some reason, always comes out nearly flawless, which makes what we did better than what was going to happen before that bad thing did. And I don't know why that's the case, but it always comes out better. I can't think of anything specific at this moment without calling anybody out or whatnot. But those moments are actually a lot of fun.
Okay.
Afterwards, not right then and there. That's why you always gotta think on your feet. You can never be complacent in that ring. No matter what you do, you need to constantly be on your toes. There's so much psychology involved in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had DVN on last week, and she told us about Murphy's Law and how it's affected her in her life. Have you ever had you've been in this business for 16 years. Have you ever had one weird or out of this world road story from those 16 years?
I have more than I've had more than my fair share of weird road stories. Oh, let me see if I have to just pick one. Off the top of my head.
I promise we will bring you back to say some other ones as well.
No, absolutely. Oh, jeez. Hold on, let me take a bottle of wine here and just give me a second.
You won't get these questions from Dave Meltzer, that's for sure.
I think we're in store for a great story, Scooter.
Without a doubt.
Well, without giving away any names or anything, because I don't want to I don't want to bury anybody, or I don't want to put through anybody. Huh?
Give out the names. Get out the golden shovel.
It is not my place to show anybody in a bad light, at all. But usually stories take. Usually it's a bunch of guys in a car at once where this happens. But I remember one time we were again late after a show. We all decided to get some food somewhere. Nothing was really open, and we did find this one place that was open, and so we sit down. We're eating our food. Everything's going very, 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 very well. And we get back in the car, and there's about 5 of us. I'm driving, and we're doing well. And then all of a sudden, Zach, pull over. What? Vomit. All right, Zach, pull over again. 5 minutes later, vomit. Everybody got sick from the food, like almost instantaneously. So, like literally the entire way home, every couple of minutes, we constantly had to pull over and vomit or defecate or something. It was just absolutely atrocious. The entire 2 to 3 hour drive home. And of course, being the one that's driving while being sick is not fun either.
I imagine so. That is a good one. And going on to maybe more serious matters, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Still wrestling, as long as I have no debilitating injuries. Knock on wood. I love what I do. I know my role. I'm self-aware. So as long as I can help anybody younger get to where they need to be, that's what I enjoy doing. At the same time, I do like going out there and trying new things as well. So I still wanna be wrestling as much as I can, wherever I can. I do want to expand and wrestle new places, I think, as everybody does. But I just want to keep doing this as long as my body's holding out. I'm only in my 30s right now, so I think I still have a long time left. As long as I'm good in the ring, as long as I'm not the drizzling shits, I think I'll be doing this for a long, long time. If people will have me. Hey, if I suck, I suck. But nobody's told me that yet. Well, actually, everybody's told me that, but I don't think they mean it. But who knows?
You can't take what the fans say. They don't mean it.
Where is one place you haven't wrestled yet that you'd love to?
Honestly, I would love to wrestle in England, absolutely. Anywhere in Europe, but England specifically, I do like that style. But I would really love to wrestle in Australia. I just think that would be different. It'd be fun. You know, I don't really weren't from Australia, but you know, when I think of Australian wrestling, I think of the Fabulous Kangaroos, which essentially started tag team wrestling. I don't they weren't Australian, but you know, I do enjoy them a lot. But yeah, for some reason, I would love to wrestle in Australia, Australia, New Zealand area. Hey, you put a ring up anywhere in this world, I will wrestle there. But yeah, those are a couple of places that I really would like to go.
And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows who ZPB is?
Oh, well, I mean, if you really want to see ZPB, who he really is, we'll say go to Limitless Wrestling, episodes 3 and 4 of The Road. Those are 2 very good matches that I'm very proud of. One against Rip Bison, and the other one against Elia Markopoulos.
Not the wine bottle on a pole match?
I have done that one before. Did not really go as planned, but it was still a lot of fun.
Why was Vince Russo there, and why did he decide to do an on a pole match?
I have no idea.
All right, we are nearing the conclusion of this interview. So this is our Dundo round. So I'm going to shoot off a question, and you tell me what's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay, let's go.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Shawn Michaels.
Worst wrestler of all time.
Mongo.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
The first person that comes into my mind is Rip Bison, but I mean, if it was anybody from the past, again, Shawn Michaels.
If you could come out to anyone entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Aqua, Barbie Girl.
Oh my god.
I think that's the first time somebody, one of our interviews has said a specific song and not a wrestler, but I applaud that.
You know, I do too. I mean,
the thing with wrestling theme music is I have come out some of my favorite songs ever. So when somebody asks me if I want to come out to a song, I have to say something like that because I'm a very much in the closet Aqua fan. Well, maybe it's out of the closet now, but I love Aqua. So okay, Barbie Girl is a great song. But yeah, I've come out to everything that I love. So why not Barbie Girl? As a wrestler, you should be able to make any. As a wrestler, you should be able to make any song work for you when you come out, whether it's no music or any music they do. If you're a good wrestler, you'll make it work.
I have to just say that is the first time any of our interviewees have said that specifically, and I think that's an incredible piece of psychology when it comes to being a wrestler.
Absolutely. I've been in a bunch of shows where for some reason the music's not working and the guys are waiting behind the curtain. They're like, go out. No, my music's not hitting it. No. Dude, just go out. As a heel, it's easy to do because you just go out and you just yell at the audience. I don't need music. I'm good. You know, and as a face, he's a good guy. You can go out there and you can make it work. You don't need music. It's not critical. It's not needed. Just like if you're in that ring, if a rope breaks, if something breaks, it's not needed. Nothing is needed. You will do what you can do and the best that you can do given what you're given. But the best tool you have in that ring, your mind. And if you have an opponent across from you that thinks the same way you do, you can put on any type of match with no ring at all or the best ring in the world. It doesn't matter.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. You said kayfabe is what? Was that first part?
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is.
Kayfabe is something that I think I would like for it to come back more so, but in the age of the internet and social media, I think it's gone. In that sense,
So
everybody knows
dead.
everything, so it's hard.
Yeah. Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Squash? It's got seeds in it, so I think it's a fruit. I could
That's
be wrong.
actually correct.
Okay, awesome.
It's an inside joke on our main show, Wrestling with Entertainment. So we ask everybody that.
Fair enough. I'm glad I got it right.
New Japan wrestler Taichi's ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
As long as nothing's showing, do whatever fits you. There's no one universal piece of gear for anybody, but if you're wearing trunks to butt cheek, if you got an ass, flaunt it. If you don't got an ass, hide it. Anything in between, it works, male or female. Who am I to argue?
Wow, that is an incredible response. I think the most incredible response we've gotten to that.
Absolutely. And our last question. Have you ever struck up a conversation about Darby Allin in a supermarket?
No.
And that is
I don't think I've
correct
struck up
answer.
a conversation about him ever.
It's another inside joke.
And that's nothing against him. It just hasn't come up.
No, that is the correct answer for most of America.
Okay. But I mean, when you mention supermarket and wrestling, obviously you got to go with Stone Cold and Booker T. So
absolutely.
that's what just popped into my mind.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for coming on, ZPB. Once again, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at Zachary Pierre Beaulieu.
And we will have all your social media links in the description of the video on YouTube and both Castbox. And
absolutely,
that will conclude our interview. You can find me and Scooter on Wrestling with Entertainment this Saturday. We will be discussing everything Survivor Series.
And Full Gear.
Full Gear was last week, Scooter. And you can find us on Twitter as well. I am at JamesJ993. Where can they find Scooter?
Of course, you can always find me at Scooter Dust and holding it down for the UNB network at UNBS Wrestling. And November 22nd, the 5th annual Survivor Series remix with Scooter Dust, the only live streaming alternate commentary podcast on the web today.
For our very special guest, Zachary Pierre Beaulieu, Coleco Yachts, Mitch Mayhem, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.